It's been a very long time, and we have something so incredible to do today. This is probably the coolest thing I've done in a very long time. I've never done it before, and I'm super excited. We're gonna start a brand new challenge, a brand new build, and I'm gonna really force myself. I've never done anything like this, and dude, I'm gonna push my buttons with this one because this one is going to be a budget build. Yup. We got an engine. This is definitely gonna be a budget build. Look at this thing. I just picked this thing up from the junkyard. I've been working on it on the side, and a lot of people on TikTok are telling me to do it on YouTube. So we're gonna have the long content here on YouTube. This right here is a K24A8. It's from a Honda Accord. I picked this engine up for 350 bucks. I got this block off plate for 18 bucks. And then I got the intake manifold for free. I got the throttle body for free from a follower, so I'm not including that whatsoever. I also have so many parts in these boxes. This is full of parts. This is full of parts. This is full of parts. We have a transmission as well. I think I paid 150 bucks. No, I did pay $150 for the transmission. And we have so many things on the way. We're gonna do a budget build on this. Oh gosh, I almost tripped myself. We're gonna do a budget build on this, and we're gonna try to build a brand new car, brand new chassis for under $5,000. You heard me correctly, $5,000. That is the goal of this series. I'm not gonna go above and beyond. We're gonna try to ghetto rig everything. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, if I run out of money, everything to get this car running has to be either free or I have to figure a way to do it. If I for some reason have if I have $500 left and I need axles that are $600, I either need to sell something to recoup my money, or I need to weld my own axles, because the whole goal is to get this running for 5K. Can I do it? I have no idea, but we're gonna start the build today, so hopefully you guys are so excited. We're gonna start building this engine completely. One other thing, I'm also gonna count sponsored products. I'm probably gonna get so many sponsored products, and I'm also gonna include them into the price. The only thing I'm not going to include is things that I either got for free, or the only thing is things I got for free from followers. I actually feel very dumb. I had a spare valve cover, and this one is from a previous engine, and I swapped it over. This one's so much cleaner. This one ended up coming out really clean, actually, with oven cleaner and the pressure washer. Looks very fresh. But I decided just to throw this black one because this one I know for a fact has no oil sludge or anything like that inside of it. I just wish I would remember that I had this spare one lying around. So we are going to paint this, but for now we don't have the gaskets. We don't have any of the seals, so we're just going to leave it on there, and we're going to move on to the fuel system. This fuel system is from eBay and from Bull Boost. We have the PQY Performance fuel rail. This one was from eBay. I'll have to put the price somewhere up here somewhere. So we're gonna throw the fuel rail on, stock injectors. We have the fuel pressure regulator, the gauge, and all the fittings. So most of this I will have to add it to the car once I get it. We also have the lines, but for now I can install the regulator. I'm just gonna have the regulator sit right here like so. First on the list, we need to remove the fuel injectors from the fuel rail. Okay, so you simply grab this and there you go, twist it off. And then this one should pull out with a little bit of force. This thing has been caked on for years. There you go. Wow. Okay, let's remove the rest of them. Look how dirty they are. Let's remove the other three. 10 years later, they're all finally out. We have the fuel rail all by itself. That is going to the trash. All of this is going to the trash. The only thing we are going to be using is the stock injectors to save some money because we have a $5,000 budget. For the important part, never, ever forget the spacers to any intake. So the Honda intakes actually come with a little spacer that sits on top of the intake, and those little spacers are these. They're made out of plastic. They go on top of here. If you forget these spacers, the injectors are not going to sit whatsoever remotely close to where they're supposed to, and you're going to have leaks everywhere. So please, if you don't have these, go to the junkyard, find some, and install them. So these spacers in there and there, we're good to go. Now it's time for injectors. Before installing these injectors, yes, I'm well aware that these things are from the junkyard, but before installing these injectors, please grab a little bit of grease and just grease up these O-rings. We want them to survive as long as possible. This is a budget. I'm not gonna clean these. I'm not gonna buy new ones. Just grease them just so it doesn't leak and so they don't crack and they last a little bit longer. And once you grease them, simply pop them in place and we're good to go. Look how easy that was. Now we have 2 injectors, 2 more to go. Let's install those. There we go, we're officially done. Another thing I like to do, same thing, I like to grease the top of the O-rings on top of the injector just to make sure that it slides in easily onto the fuel rail. So just put a little bit of grease on all of these and that's it. Now for the eBay fuel rail, remember if you do not have these spacers, this thing is not going to sit properly. Also make sure to plug up the bottom one because we're not going to use it for the Kswap. We're going to use the 2 outer ones, so you don't really need it. So as you can see, the fuel rail is going to sit on top of the spacers like so. Make sure that the injector is right on top of the hole because we don't want to break the O-ring, and simply slide it in. If you put a lot of grease or some grease in it, it's just simply slide in like so. And now we officially have a fuel rail. Look at that. That looks sick. Last thing we're gonna do is actually put a couple of nuts at the fuel rail just to hold everything in place. These are zinc plated hardware. I had them lying around. And here, last one, let's install this one. There we go. Okay, grab your impact or your ratchet. Don't go crazy. There you go. Just a little bit snug. We're good to go. That's it, man. The fuel rail is officially on. Now let's add the gauge. Now let's remove this fitting on the fuel rail so we can add the gauge. We don't need this anymore. Grab our gauge from our fuel system from Bull Boosted. This should just simply thread in, but before we actually throw the gauge on there, they do sell Teflon tape for gas. Please buy the correct Teflon tape. If you use the one for vacuum, the white one is going to deteriorate it and completely cause so many leaks all over the place. Trust me, I know. Use the correct Teflon tape, which is the yellow one. So let's put it on there, install it, and let's call it a day. Now we simply have to thread this in. As you can see, I put yellow Teflon on it. We do not want this leaking. It should be a 12mm holding the whole thing together. So now we just tighten it slowly and make sure it's positioned the correct way so you can actually see it when you're looking at the car. You don't want this backwards. We actually have to remove this fitting right here. This is where our fuel pressure regulator is going to sit. So let's completely unscrew this just like so. We're just going to put this on this side just so it's not open. I don't know what I'm going to put on this side. I could run this fitting, but I think I'm going to do 10 or 6 AN lines to the rest of the fuel filter. So we're just going to leave that for now. And our fuel pressure regulator, which is this thing right here. And if you don't know what a fuel pressure regulator does, this thing is simply going to increase your fuel pressure so your car does not run lean. So this gets a adequate amount of fuel. Somehow I actually had the right fitting in my box. This is a 6 AN to an 8 AN. So this screws in here like so. Hopefully I have it. Oh no, I gotta take the fuel rail on to put it on. Ah, man. Let me remove the fuel rail. Let me put it on first and then we'll stick it on. Oh, impact time. There we go. 1, 2, a little bit more. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. No torque spec. This thing looks beautiful. Check that out. So now we have the fuel pressure regulator, we have the fuel rail, we have the injectors, we have the gauge. This thing looks awesome. Hard to believe I got this from the junkyard. As you can see, we have the fuel rail now. This thing is completely done. We have the throttle body, we have the intake. I'm gonna be adding prices in the video so we can kind of tally up at the end of the video how much money we have into this so far. So we're just gonna keep throwing things at it. Next on the list is this Bull Boost coolant adapter, and these are needed for the people that want to run a intake that is separate from your coolant passages. For example, this is a PRB. It's a two-piece design. Normally the worst intakes are a one-piece design, and in order to run these intakes that are two-piece design like the PRB or the cut RBC, you need to run this coolant adapter that separates the intake from the coolant passages. It simply goes on there. and then this nipple allows you to connect it to your thermostat housing. Got it. We're simply going to use some gasket maker. This stuff works perfectly fine. Doesn't have to be a specific silicone, just that. Bull Boost also sends you all the bolts you need. We're only going to use one. We're going to use this one right here, this long one right there, and it gives you the plug for the middle of this, because you can run a temperature sensor, but I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to be using the stock temperature sensor, which is on the block of the actual engine. So let's grab the right tools, remove that bolt, put silicone, and install it. All right, let's remove it. Now we have enough access. There we go. We're no longer going to be using this one. I mean, you can, but they do give you one. You know what? I'm just going to use it. So now let's throw silicone on the actual adapter. Okay, now let's add some silicone. Just honestly, just go a little overboard. Just put it all over the place. Now let's wait for this to get a little tacky. I wait around 10 minutes before I throw it on there. But essentially, this is what you want to do. This is what I've always done. I have no idea what other people do. I'm just going by what I do and what works for me. This thing is tacky, so now we're just gonna slowly just thread this bolt and have it close little by little. Let's tighten this bad boy up. Look at that. One more turn. You see the silicone slowly coming out. You don't want to overdo it, but you don't want it super loose. That's about as good as you're gonna get it. Look at that. That looks really, really good. It looks like I made a really good seal, so we're good to go. Now we're gonna install the small plug that goes on the actual adapter. For this, I'm not gonna use anything besides Seal Lock thread compound. It's like the liquid version of thread tape. This usually works better, in my opinion, like especially for small things like this that you can't really thread anything into it. Okay, you're probably gonna have to use a key because this is a very tight fit, but as you can see, I put Teflon sealant on this little bung. As soon as I'm able to tighten it, I'm gonna go back and clean all the extra residue because it looks ugly. So now what we need to do is simply connect the adapter to the provided hose or the stock OEM hose, which is down here. That's all we got to do, and this thing is practically done. So let me make sure this thing is tight. I don't want it leaking. You can hand tighten these fittings, by the way. They have O-rings, so it shouldn't leak. Okay, now we just shove that in there and call it a day. I wonder how easy it is. Oh, that was easy. Oh, that was way too easy. Check that out. Now let's toss some bling on the engine. I actually have this timing chain cover from Bull Boost. It's really shiny, it looks cool. For some reason, this timing chain cover does not work on JDM engines. Both the engine in the MR2 and the engine on the Civic are JDM engines, so it didn't fit. But it fits the USDM ones really good. So we're just gonna install it and waste a little bit of budget money on this. So yes, this is gonna be included in my budget of $5,000. We're just gonna waste it on this cover because it looks cool and it doesn't work on my other engines. Dude, this makes the engine look so crusty, I'm not gonna lie. It looks so shiny, and then the rest of it looks really, really dirty. But like I said again, it did not fit my other engines and I just have it lying around. We might as well throw it on the budget one. So we did lose a little bit of the budget money, but that's okay. This thing is looking really, really good. Super excited. I think we're gonna install one more part and this should be good enough for episode 1. I just gotta say, boys, for like just a few, not even a few hours, like maybe an hour just working on this engine, it looks completely different. This thing is starting to look like an actual nice engine. So far we have the fuel system completely done, fuel pressure regulator, we have the injectors, fuel rail, gauge, we have the intake manifold. You guys didn't see that, I did it off camera. Throttle body, TPS sensor, we have the upper coolant adapter right here. Dude, this looks sick. I think we're gonna install one more part and we're gonna call it for episode 1. Episode 2, we're just gonna finish the rest of the engine, but I think I'm gonna do one more part for episode 1, and that is going to be including this, installing this into the budget engine. Also, up to this point, I have no idea where we're at money-wise. I'm gonna have to edit this video and look, but I think it's $4,620 is what we have left, and it hasn't even been 600 bucks, and this thing looks like this. That's insane. All right, let's open this and let's talk about it and install it. This is literally it. You get a little cutoff of some metal. This is actually gonna hold this plug together so the pressure doesn't blow it off. So this little plug is simply gonna go on top of your thermostat housing like so. I'm not gonna put it in there yet because we need to remove this bolt. This bolt right here, this upper one on the housing is gonna come off. You're gonna put this on top of it, bolt it together, and this thing is just gonna secure this plug so the pressure doesn't blow back out. Literally, that's it. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do, let's remove this bolt and let's install it. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our impact with a very long extension and remove the 10mm bolt right here on the thermostat housing. As you can see, mine is already removed. Maybe I should have got a smaller extension, but bung time, the bung goes on. So this has an O-ring, and normally this would keep it sealed. As you can see, you just push it in place like so. Pushed it in place. This thing probably would hold a lot of pressure, but just to be a little bit safe, they give you this bracket. This bracket goes on top of it like, let me figure this out. I think I put it in the wrong way, like so. See, look at that. That bracket simply keeps it in place, and then you just put the bolt back on, tighten it, and you're done. Well, boys, after adding everything together, we're exactly at $4,513 left for this build. I said I wanted to start at $5,000, and that's exactly what I started at. So far we're not even over. That's insane. We're not even over $600. So far we're not even over $600. That's crazy. This thing still needs a lot of things. So I need a map sensor. I'm gonna order that tonight. I need a knock sensor. This one is broken as well. I gotta figure out the belt situation here. I need the upper coolant adapter that's gonna go here. I have that on the way as well. We're gonna change all the gaskets on the actual valve cover, VTEC solenoid, because it looks like it was leaking a lot here at some point. So we're gonna change that. Filter as well, gasket there. I don't think I'm gonna change this. We're gonna do an oil pan gasket, and I bought the hardware for the oil pan as well. We're gonna replace that. We're gonna need the actual bracket, the CRV bracket that goes here, and that should be pretty much it for the most part. Like, we're getting really close to being able to throw this on the car. So yeah, so we're not even over $600. The whole goal with this build is to build something cool like this, or like the MR2 for a budget for people that don't have a lot of money. Also, side note, check out the drag wheels for the Civic. This thing is gonna look so freaking fire. I need to buy the tires so we can toss them on, but this thing's gonna be a crazy fast car. And well, boys, I'm probably gonna end the video here. Stay tuned for the budget build. This is episode 1 of building a $5,000 Kswap car. So far, we're doing pretty good on the budget. We're under $600. We've only wasted up to this point $600, so it's gonna be rough, man. I'm gonna have to get the car super cheap. I'm gonna definitely, oh dude, I'm gonna have to definitely run an eBay clutch and flywheel setup, because yeah, we don't have a lot of money to play with. $5,000 in today's market is not a lot of money. So are we gonna do it? Who knows? Tune for episode 2, and let's finish this engine.